Today's edition of Radio KD8TTE is going to show you how to use the FLMSG form to create a properly formatted radiogram for transmission. Stick around. Our first order of business is to make sure that we have the FLMSG application that's part of the NBEM suite. You can get it at the same place that you downloaded FLDigi, and it will work seamlessly with the rest of those programs. Once we have FLMSG open, give the example of a blank form being there, you can go to the Form menu, pull down that drop-down menu, and you can see you've got a bunch of different options for different forms, one of which is the radiogram. Go ahead and select the radiogram, and you can see how this fill-out form provides all of the necessary elements to create a properly formed message. By using the File menu and going to New, it will automatically populate the number according to the next one in the series if you have so selected from the Config menu in FLMSG. We have options for, of course, the number, the precedence. There's also handling instructions. And the handling instructions, when you click on that box, is going to give you a pop-up, and the pop-up is going to support whatever you want to put in for handling instructions. So FLMSG provides a lot of helpful user interface elements here where it will show you what each of those handling instructions means. So you don't have to have everything memorized, or if you don't want to use a quick reference card, you can actually use this interface to select the right handling instructions and to get that properly formatted. Of course, going on to the station of origin, that's going to be the call sign of the station where this message is being created for transmission. Next up is check. We're going to skip that because it depends on what we put down below it. So go ahead, put the place of origin. This is going to be the location of the person on whose behalf we are sending the message. So we go to the to part, we're able to fill out all of the information there that's going to be necessary for routing. When we're routing in state, and if we're routing as part of a project, especially to an ARRL official, it's going to be sufficient in many cases to include something like a title and a call sign, as well as the city. Usually the to field will have as much information as possible, so there is no extra work needed by the station of delivery. In this case, all addressees are ARRL Ohio section officials, and they should be known or have representatives on the nets. So the next thing that we then will move on to is we go down to the text. And when you are working on completing the text, don't worry about all of the details that go into the creation of the message in the format for transmission. For the purpose of this project that we're working on, the County Information Report Project 20, just type in what you need to type in there. The most important thing is to make sure that we are getting the preamble in shape. So once you've got the message typed out, hit that CK button. It's turned red, and once you do that, it's going to perform the function of counting the groups that are in the text. It will actually perform some of the formatting, so if you have periods in various places, it will actually encode those for transmission. It'll compute the check, put it into the preamble, and then you can hit these buttons in the time filed and the month and the day filed that will allow you to say, okay, this is exactly when it is right now. Now, if you're formatting this message, but it's not going to be put on the air, or it's not going to be really ready for transmission, then rather than selecting right this moment for time filed, you're probably going to want to put that at some other time. In fact, we could prepare this for a day that is in the future. In this case, that's what I do for these messages that we're sending as part of the project. I'll actually create these ahead of time, and so we'll take a look at something like this. Well, I'm not really going to send this on the 9th of August. I'm going to send this a little bit later, So let's take a look at the calendar. What net am I going to put it on? I'm going to put it on the 2300 Zulu session of Buckeye Net. That's going to be on August 13. So that's where we will complete all that information. Go to the File menu, pull down that menu, go to Save, and then it's going to bring up a dialog box. It's going to show you where it's saving these messages. It's going to be in your .nbems directory. There's going to be an ICS folder. Underneath there will be messages, and you can see the things that are stored in the radiogram format in FLMSG have that extension of M2S. Different forms have different format. So once you want to do that transmission, then you're going to be able to use that auto send menu. That'll blast it when you are told, all right, transmit, I am ready to copy. Or if you've got an ARQ situation going on, we will introduce that later in the project. You can use that in the bottom. Of course, once you've done the transmission, it is important to record the fact that you have done a transmission. So in this example, I say that I've sent this to 88CM, I've sent it on the net BN, that's Buckeye Net, and then I can hit that box that will give me the date and time. Now, in my particular configuration here, I actually am now using the date-time group format. This is a nice format for being able to sort. So once you've finished the transmission, you've updated the record part, you want to save it, and then once you've done that, you can use the View menu to show you a couple of options. There's going to be an HTML delivery, an HTML file, and also a plain text version. If you pull the File menu down and you watch the plain text version, then what you're going to see is something that is appropriate for transmission. If you want to send a radiogram by WinLink, this is a really good way to do it because you can just pull down the File menu, go to the plain text view, and then you will see, oh, here's the whole radiogram, including its preamble, and it's already formatted for you. Just copy all of that, paste it into the body of a WinLink email message, and it will be ready to go. Then all you got to do is put the routing information in WinLink email, and it can be routed to the station. The plain text version is much, much smaller, as we discussed in the earlier video, and so this is an appropriate way to send it. And of course, if you want to have a look at it, then you've got a couple of options with the HTML view of your messages. One is going to be your file view, and then of course the other one is going to be the delivery view. So if you take a look at the delivery view, what you're going to see is all of the pertinent information filled out. As we pointed out, things like precedents are actually spelled out, which we do not do for transmission. But if you take a look at the plain text version, it is actually properly formatted for transmission. So that's pretty interesting. Again, the delivery view of this is going to show all of the essential elements, and it includes that radio message was received at and gives the contact information for the station and the station operator that was involved in getting that delivery view prepared. On the other hand, if we want to take a look at the version that we have for the file copy, what you're going to see is exactly the same thing, but down at the bottom, you're going to have the additional accounting information. So again, everything that we filled out there after we made the transmission shows up down at the bottom, and that's why we call this the file copy. It's going to show you all of the stuff that you need to be able to keep track of where this message has gone, should you need to trace it in order to find out where something has gone or how long it took to get off of your station or anything along those lines. And that's all there is to it. You can use FLMSG to create the messages in the radiogram format. It will get you familiar with the precedents for radio messages generally, and once we've got this under control, then we're going to introduce some more slick stuff where we're able to move things not just with the plain old radiogram form, but where we're able to use all of the features of accounting and all of the features that we get in the preamble for any type of message. That's coming up in the future. So that's how to use FLMSG to create a radiogram in the proper format, to be able to see how it looks for transmission so that you can put it inside of a WinLink message, or that you can actually save it and do the transmission so that you can do the transmission directly from one FLMSG instance to another. and also to be able to see the copies that you have, whether it's for delivery or whether it is for filing. And that's really all there is to it. I hope that you enjoyed this demonstration. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it if you found it useful. This is Radio KD8TTE, out.